So let's talk neuro drills for performance that can boost energy and motivation, especially if it seems like most days you just don't have the energy to get yourself going. You don't have the motivation to do things like work out or stick with your nutrition plan, and it seems like you're just always tired. You're mentally and physically drained. You got foggy brain and just can't get yourself going, and you don't know why. You've tried all kinds of different things to get yourself motivated, and it just seems like nothing really works, and you might be blaming yourself, thinking that you're lazy. You need more motivation or willpower. You need more accountability, or maybe that you need to set bigger goals or have a stronger reason why. All these kinds of things might be going through your head. I know this is something I have struggled with, where I went for a period of 4 months where I had no desire, energy, or motivation to do my workouts, and I really thought something was wrong with me. But what if I said that the reason why this is happening, it's not because any of these things are true. It's not that you're lazy or unmotivated or that you need more accountability, you need more willpower. It's actually because of your brain and nervous system doing what it's supposed to do, which is protecting you from perceived threats. So in this video, I want to share 4 neurotraining drills that will help change all of that by boosting energy and your motivation, and doing that in only about 2 minutes or so. So you might think that your lack of energy means that you need more sleep or more caffeine to wake yourself up, or that you just need to find ways to find your motivation again. But what's actually happening is that these are indicators that your brain and nervous system are perceiving high levels of threat. And what I mean by that is that the inputs that come in through your senses, such as your eyes, your ears, and other senses, are being perceived by your brain as threats to your survival. So when this happens, your nervous system gets overstimulated, and then the longer this goes on, you can find that your motivation drops, your energy tanks, and your body starts to shut down because it's trying to conserve energy. So the fix is not to push yourself harder or to get to the gym more or to push yourself through more grueling workouts to try to get yourself in shape. It's actually to train your nervous system so that it processes the inputs that are coming in through your senses as safe rather than threats. And this is something that I struggled with personally for a long time, and also with clients that I work with. I was a fitness trainer and coach for over 20 years, and I had a lot of clients who suffered from the same thing. They didn't have the motivation or the desire to train all the time. They'd come into workouts and they were just like, their energy was in the tank. They were stressed out all the time. They were tired. They were mentally and physically drained. They would sabotage themselves by making one bad food choice after another. And all these things were going on. And I did this stuff too. I was guilty of it. Even though I was a trainer and coach, I'm a human being as well. I was far from perfect. And the biggest mistake that I made was thinking that the answer was to coach the behavior. Here, make this food choice next time instead of that one. You need to start doing your workouts more, or trying to tell them the importance of their goals. You need to have a strong enough reason why. I would have these conversations with my clients. I had these conversations with myself over and over in my head. And guess what? It rarely worked. And the times that it didn't work for very long. So the mistake that I made was thinking that coaching behavior was the answer, when in reality, our behaviors are responses that are driven from our brain. So when our brain is perceiving high levels of threats to our survival, the last thing that our brain wants to do is some workout, because it costs a lot of energy. And when your brain is in survival mode, it's trying to conserve energy, not trying to expend energy. So even though you know you need to work out because you're trying to achieve a fitness goal that you have, it's more likely that you're going to skip it. You're not going to have the motivation. You're not going to have the energy. You don't have the desire to do it. And if you try to push yourself through it, it's like you are, walking through quicksand. Your mental energy is not there. Your physical energy is not there. Your performance isn't there. And it's all because your brain is not in performance mode. It's in threat. So I want to share 4 neurotraining drills that are very effective for helping to decrease threat. Because in order to increase your energy and motivation, we've got to get the threat level down. So the first thing we want to do is we want to work on some inhibition drills. And basically these are drills that will help to inhibit the survival area of the brain, the midbrain. Because when this area is overactive, we have less energy that gets put into the cognitive area where our logical thinking takes place in the frontal lobe. So the less energy we have in the frontal lobe, the more likely it is that logic goes out the window. We do things like binge eating, skipping workouts, and we don't do the things that we need to do to achieve the goals that we have. So some ways that you can inhibit, and basically inhibition is more like turning the volume down on the inputs that come in through our senses. So some of the ways we can do that are like earplugs are one way to decrease the stimulus that comes in through the auditory area. Another way is through vision. And vision is an important inhibition tool that you can use because about 90% or so of the input that comes in day to day comes in to our brain through our eyes. So some of the ways are like blue light blocking glasses, especially the green ones. These are really good because not only can these inhibit some of the stimulus that comes in, but these are also, these can help to activate the frontal lobe area of the brain. So these work. There's different colors that we can use as well. And pinhole glasses are actually good. I use these a lot because I have like issues with my vision where sometimes especially when I'm trying to read, if I'm on my phone or I have small like text, then I can get a little bit of blurry, like there's blurriness within the text sometimes. So these are great not only for decreasing the stimulus that comes in through my vision or through my eyes, but it also helps to focus my vision. So when I use these, the text looks clear. There's no like fuzziness or blurriness as well. So after we work on the inhibition drills, then the next thing we want to focus on is making sure that we've got adequate fuel. So this is less of like technically less neurotraining and more nutrition based, but there is the connection with nutrition and the brain and nervous system, because if you're underfed or if you're eating the wrong foods, then your brain is not going to get the nutrients that it needs to be able to function the way that it needs to. And then what happens is that can start to increase threat perception in the brain because it's not getting adequate fuel. And when that happens, again, your energy and your motivation and your performance all go in the tank. So we want to make sure that we are getting balanced meals, carbs, proteins, fats in the amounts that you need. And getting them from quality food sources. So now that you've got inhibition drills covered and you've got enough fuel that will provide your body and your brain with the resources that it needs to run, now you can start to work on sensory input, specifically increasing activation and drive of the frontal lobe, because now we can get more energy into this area. And this, again, is the area where our logical thinking processes happen. So the more active our frontal lobe becomes, the more it inhibits the survival brain. And then the more likely you are to experience things like motivation to do the things you need to do to achieve your goals, more likely to stick with healthy habits, and less likely to sabotage yourself. So some of the things that you can do to increase activation of the frontal lobe, you can do it with vision drills. You can use drills like saccades. You can use gaze stabilization is another one. So either of those works. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. So I can't cover them all in this video. It would take forever. But these are just a couple ways to get started. You can also increase activity of the frontal lobe physically through complex type movement patterns. So these are movements that will basically, they make you think a little bit more as you do them. So it's increasing activity of the frontal lobe in order to perform the movements. So different types of, you can use stepping or lunging drills, adding like upper body movement with them to increase the cognitive load. So the last neurotraining drills that you can do to boost your energy and increase motivation are integration type drills. So this is where we just start to integrate different systems of the body together. And one of the best drills that you can use with a big payoff is infinity walks. If you search my channel here, you probably find a video of me demonstrating it. I believe I have one somewhere in here. It probably goes back a little bit, but infinity walks are a great integration type drill. So when it comes to increasing energy and motivation, the important thing to remember is that your brain and nervous system run the show. So you don't need to push yourself harder. You don't need more willpower. You don't need more motivation. You don't need to set bigger goals or have a stronger reason why. You don't need positive affirmations or vision boards or any of these things. You do need to retrain and reset your nervous system. If you want more neuro-based tools to help boost performance, increase motivation, energy, improve consistency, and get better results, be sure to click the subscribe button below. And in the meantime, be sure to check out this video.